Dr.Jackie's here, changing life loving you. Yeah, that's the groove, life loving you. Feel the truth, move, life loving you. It's all we do, come on through, it's just for you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Life Lovin' You podcast with Dr. Jacquie, America's relationship and marriage coach. Tonight, she's moderating a special convo where longtime partners Gerald and Jasmine Williams confront childhood trauma, infidelity, communication breakdowns, and financial pressures. Join us as we explore how trust can be rebuilt, intimacy reignited, and two childhood sweethearts can rediscover the marriage they deserve. Let's hop in.
And Gerald, it's so good to be with you. Talk to me. What are you currently dealing with in terms of challenges in your relationship?
As far as challenges for myself with my husband, it's trust.
Trust. Mm-hmm. And what aspect of trust?
Trusting him, because I've always had fear of abandonment, mm-hmm. and him leaving me, mm-hmm. And
so you don't trust that he's not going to leave you?
Yeah, I don't trust that he'll be here with me.
So let's separate fact from fiction. Has he done anything to make you feel that it warrants you being concerned?
Yes.
Okay, well, do tell.
So, you want to say it, or?
You got the floor.
Okay. So, in 2019, we kind of went through a hardship, dealing with infidelity, and we were separated for almost the whole 2019, and I actually thought that we were not getting back together. We've been together for since 14 years old, and that was the first time ever we have ever been just separated. So when that happened, already dealing with father abandonment, and I'm like, okay, I trusted you, and you leave, and it's like, now, okay, he left me, you left me, yeah, I'm not gonna trust that anymore.
So I was gonna even ask you, who were you at 14 when you met?
Who
were you at 14? What were you struggling with at that time?
Well, my mom and dad had divorced about when I was 9 years old, so I'll say that was about 4 years ago, but I was still dealing with that, and no one knew though, but I was still dealing with my father on why did he leave, what happened, never really questioned my mom about it until actually now in my 20s asking what happened.
So you felt some sense of abandonment from your father?
Mm-hmm. It was abandonment, yeah.
But what makes you say that?
When they separated, I had no communication with my father. He just stopped talking with me and...
Just disappeared? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you did have abandonment issues. Mm-hmm. So now we're gonna fast forward. So now you're with Gerald. Mm-hmm. And then you've been together since the age of 14. And then recently there was some infidelity. So was it you that stepped out in the relationship, or was it Gerald?
It was myself.
So it was you?
It was me.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
During that time, honestly, I can't even give a reason for it. I made a mistake, of course. I was out of line. I was out of character. I felt in my relationship wasn't working at that time. I felt like we were going through a lot of things, communication, sexual desires. Our children was frustrating us all the time. And I thought that it was the end of our relationship. So I was easily influenced by a whole lot of things. Insecurity stepped in, all kinds of things stepped in the way. And
don't be nervous. I'm not gonna bite. We're gonna get to the bottom of it. Let's take our time and tease things out, right?
Yeah.
So you found yourself in this situation where you weren't that happy and you guys were going through a lot of turmoil. Sounds like you're saying there was a lot of conflict going on.
There was a lot of conflict in our relationship. And it was easy for not anyone, but it was easy for someone to show me something new. I guess that's what you want to call it. Of course, when you look back at it now, it's just like that was so irrelevant. That was something I never supposed to do ever, because it didn't even amount to anything that my wife could ever do.
So let's go back. So you've been together since you were 14.
Yes.
So you've just been faithful to one another all of that time.
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that you were probably first loves?
Yes.
Okay. So 14 and you're now in your 20s. So you said that this person was able to show you something. What are we talking about?
It was just something new, I guess. New face, new everything. something that I was vulnerable with doing. I didn't care at the time. I let my emotions get the best of me. I really didn't care. It wasn't against my wife. It wasn't something that I tried to show her, show her that I'll do to her. But it was just something that really just overcame me, that came over my body and just.
So you're saying that it was something that happened in that instant, or was it? So this is just something you met someone and you became aroused, and that's what happened.
Well, I met someone, we became friends, of course, and then one thing led to another, based off just new information, just a new person overall, and that's what happened.
But what do you think made you vulnerable to that happening? Besides the fact that you guys had been going through a tumultuous time, I understand that you had issues with the children. You guys were maybe arguing a lot more. What was it besides that? Was it anything in particular that made you vulnerable to falling prey to this other relationship?
I would say it was hard for me to communicate with my wife about her. So,
to tell her about her.
To tell her about her. That's like, I can't.
Ooh,
there's no way.
It. Yeah, so, that could be a hard conversation.
Absolutely.
Depending on how you address it, right?
Exactly.
So was this other woman easier to talk to?
I guess you can say that.
Because what did you get from that? What were you looking to get from this other relationship that you weren't getting from your wife?
I didn't get anything, to be honest.
But what were you looking to get? That's a difference.
I guess you can say that. Just understanding without responding. Not listening to respond, but listen to understand, and just kind of give me a breakdown on how I can be better in certain situations or certain areas in my life, versus just pushing off to the side or using their experience to cover what I'm going through at that moment.
Were you each other's first sexual encounter? Okay, so you're first. Okay. So was it ever that there was an issue of you wanting to see what else existed beyond, since this is all you've ever known?
Right.
Could that have played a factor in you?
Not necessarily.
It was all about the communication. I can receive that. So let's go back and let's talk about the things that you wanted to tell her about her. Let's go over some of those things.
Okay, well, there's some things that...
Boy, she's gripping your leg like for dear life. She has like a kung fu grip
just
on your
comforting
leg.
him.
Yeah,
You see me?
yeah. Don't feel threatened.
I'm not. I'm okay.
You can call me for backup later.
Please. But I just want my wife to understand that I've been through a lot since a child. I have childhood trauma. I've been through a lot of things growing up as a teenager. I've seen a lot of things, and my life doesn't compare to her. No one else's life compared to another person's life. But there's some things that I just wish that my wife can understand, and why I go through things and why I react to certain things in a certain way.
So give me a specific example.
Childhood trauma, like my mom and dad, I've been poor my whole entire life. And that's what drives me to take care of my family, to break those generational curses. And I receive a lot of pressure on the back end, and she doesn't understand the weight that I have to carry when I leave the house, and the weight that I have to drop before I come inside the house and try to maintain myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. So, it takes a toll on my body. It takes a toll on my mind. It takes a toll on my relationship. It takes a toll on how I speak to my wife.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you experience a lot of trauma. And so that's making you work really hard to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that were made in your childhood with your own family. Is that right?
Yes.
But then I'm hearing you say also something different, that I want my wife to understand. So understand what? The way that I present myself when I come home, if I'm taxed, if I speak to her in a harsh manner. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty strict.
Boy, you made that sound really good.
I'm pretty strict.
You should become a stylist. You are good at dressing things up. I mean, so that's what we're really saying. I want her to understand when I come home and I'm short and I don't give her the due respect, or I speak to her in a harsh way. Is that what we're saying?
Exactly.
You want her to give you a pass.
A little bit.
Okay, well, good luck with that now, Gerald.
Just a tad.
Now, I'm Dr. Jacquie, all right, but I don't know if I can help you that much with that.
Absolutely.
I understand, though. So what I hear you saying is, I'm having problems coping with these pressures, and I don't know how to handle them in an appropriate way. So I might blow up, I might act out, but I want you to understand. Is that right? So I want to ask you another question. Can we look at this differently?
Yes, we can.
So instead of asking her to accept what is wrong, right? Because that's a difficult thing to ask anyone to accept. Can we ask her, can we work together on finding a way to cope with this pressure, these demands, and this frustration and fear that you seem to have? Would that be better?
That would be better. Much better.
Okay. So now we have someone that is driven because he's been through a lot. Do you understand that?
I do understand it.
Okay, so what do you want him to know about how you want to validate him and what he's been through and who he's trying to become in this moment?
I want you to understand that I'm here for you, and I try to literally remind you all the time that I'm here, and to just let me help you. You're not here by yourself. You're literally not here by yourself. Like, I know growing up, you may felt like you was alone or you had to grow up fast, but God gave you a partner early because he knew that you was gonna need it. And I'm here with you, literally.
Are you receiving what she's saying?
I am.
So tell me what it looks like. Walk me through the process of what it feels like and what's going through your mind when you come home and you're driven, you're frustrated, you're afraid, whatever those feelings are that are somehow not always handled in the appropriate way. Walk me through the process of what's going through your mind.
I just feel like if I slip up one time, or if I give up one time, or if I just take a break or lay down one time, in the snap of a finger, I'll lose a lot, or I lose everything, or I feel like I don't have time to waste. I don't have time to waste until we inherit what we need to inherit, the goals that we need to meet, the realistic goals and the unrealistic goals that we need to achieve. If I feel like if we sleep, not physically sleep, but if we just relax too much, we'll slip up. And there are some cases where we've relaxed too much and we ended up.
See, that's what I wanted to hear.
Okay. Because
I wanted to know, is this all made up in your mind, or do you have some past experiences that are reinforcing that feeling?
Absolutely.
So do you feel that she showed up in those instances?
Definitely, for sure.
So how did the breakdown happen in terms of this slipping that caused you to lose something? Walk me through that.
Well, I can say sometimes where I will try to be compromising with my wife. A lot of things. My wife, she's a faithful, she's a prayer warrior, and she has more faith than I do when it comes to believing and time passing by and that we're going to be blessed in certain areas. Me, I'm going to have to go work for it, and then if a man don't eat, he don't. If a man don't work, he don't eat. That's my mentality. But she has more faith than I do, and sometimes her faith is so blind to me that I don't see anything coming. But her being in, her faith, her faith alone, it I don't know. I can't really explain it. I'm a little bit nervous.
So does it comfort you, her faith?
Say it again.
Does it comfort you, her faith?
It does. It does.
Okay.
I know sometimes that while I'm out, my wife is going to hold it down spiritually for sure, and that's something I'll never have to worry about.
Is she able to hold it down for you in a financial way as well?
Well, starting now, yeah.
Starting now? Now, what does that mean?
Okay.
Yeah, because somebody's not talking about something I need to hear.
Well, because we was just talking about this, like he wants to be like that I want to do it. I want to be the breadwinner. I want to do it. And it's like, okay, you have two people that are very talented, that both have visions, that both trying to get somewhere. And it's like, okay, I feel like if we compromise, we'll get there.
What is a compromise?
Compromising as in like, okay, we have our babies. If I have an opportunity, you sit tight and I go do that. If he has an opportunity, I sit tight and he go do that. You know, I don't believe in, one partner should just go and then the other one just sit on it. God gave you that vision. He gave you that knowledge. Why not go and use that and compromise? It will work out in the end. Literally, it will work out in the end. But
so Gerald doesn't believe that?
He's more so like, I don't know if he deals with trusting that it can happen. Like I can make it happen as well. I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And me allowing me, I'm like, you just have to allow it first. Like, I'm not going to go out tomorrow and then I'll bring all the money home. It's like, can you just allow me just to take that chance? Like, I see the vision. And I know you may not understand it, but I know where God is taking us. Just allow me. But he's more so, no, I know I can do it. Let me go. Let me go and do it. And it's like.
But he says that there's been some failures in the past where things didn't go as planned.
Well, that's because we had to find childcare. You know, we moved here to Georgia. We didn't have family to watch our baby. So he was left on his own to go and try to be the breadwinner. And I had to be home to take care of everything. But now God has opened doors where the kids are taken care of. We both can go out doing what we need to do and come back at the end of the day at the end of the day together.
So are you working now?
I am.
So is that okay with you, Gerald?
It is. Okay. There was times where, as a man, I've never wanted my wife to lift a finger. I always wanted to be the one to make sure that my family was okay. She can get all of her rest, and she'll be okay at the end of the day. But I realized that does not work in my relationship. I can't take on all that pressure.
Yeah.
I can't take all the work by myself.
But that's what she's been telling you.
Yeah, right. And I also don't want to sit home either and watch life pass me by. And then I could have did this, I could have did that, I could have helped you with this.
Yeah. When she turned to you and said to you, I'm here and I have you, I saw you smile and acknowledge what she was saying, but it didn't really seem as if you took it completely to heart.
I did. I really did. There's some changes that recently happened.
Are you concerned that maybe she would become independent?
No, she's already independent, and those are
financially. If you're taking care of all of the bills and you're the breadwinner, she's not financially independent. Right now,
no, that she's not. She won't be.
So I'm asking, is that a concern for you?
No, it's not. I tell her all the time.
Are you afraid that this girl's a thoroughbred and that she might gallop out of the stalls?
No, I tell her all the time. I say, you're going to be the one that get us out of here.
So why don't you let her? Why is that still a struggle? You have to ask that.
I do. There's some things that I do have to work on as far as getting, like we have 4 children and we have to get them into, child care and all that stuff. COVID, everything got in the way. Again, that's something that I personally have to work on because because I know for a fact that my wife is going to be the one that get us out of here like a rocket. But I have to work on removing myself out of the situation sometimes and allow her to work and make things happen for the family too.
Well, I think it's about how you're going to work together, right? So you don't have to remove yourself. Right. You're just going to stay in your lane and do what's in Gerald's lane. And then you allow her to walk in her lane and do what's under her lane. I think that you guys need a meeting of the minds. You need to really sit down and strategize about the future. What do you want to see yourself doing? And what is it okay for you to see your wife doing? I want to help you as well, but figuring out how you can get the CARES Act money and things like that to help with the child care. But I think it's time for you guys to get on the same page and to work out the details. And then I want to just close by just giving you just a few things that I want you to work on in terms of when you feel this sort of pressure when you come in. So when we know that we have experienced traumas, right, as a child, we understand what those traumas are, but we also have to learn how they make us respond. So you need to begin to connect with your wife around what those traumas, how they impact you, how they trigger you, so that she's aware. And I want you to use this like as a buzzword. When you see that he's under that influence, the influence of whatever this is that is pressuring him or making him kind of act out of sorts, that you say, whatever the buzzword is, the sun is shining, or you're doing it. Maybe you're doing it might not be, that might get you more upset. But just some sort of, harmless buzzword So you can take a few moments, get yourself together, and then reconvene and finish your conversation. But those are the two things that I want to see us work on together. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Good example of how couples kind of get together and work things out. And I know that there's still some other areas that we want to talk about, particularly in the area of the infidelity. And I didn't forget about that, but we'll take that up in the next session.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Jacquie here. I'm your how-to lady. How to do life, how to do love, and how to do you, boo. So click, like, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more to come.